in which Ray said he's open to the idea of reopening the FTX.com crypto exchange, telling the Wall Street Journal yesterday that everything is on the table. Back over to you guys.
Eighth consecutive time at Davos?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm curious how it's changed for you.
The young global shapers.
Yeah.
That's really been the transformation. I mean, I'm a young global leader.
Right.
So are you.
Yep.
When you brought the Young Global Leaders Program here for executive education and the Schwab Fellows. But there are two countries in the world now in which the young global leaders have emerged. Tell us just a bit about that in terms of the governance.
Yes, actually, this notion to integrate young leaders is part of the World Economic Forum since many years. And I have to say, when I mention now names like Mrs. Merkel, even Vladimir Putin and so on, they all have been young global leaders of the World Economic Forum. But what we are very proud of now is the young generation, like Prime Minister Trudeau, President of Argentina and so on, that we penetrate the cabinets. So yesterday I was at a reception for Prime Minister Trudeau, and I know that half of this cabinet, or even more half of this cabinet, are actually young global leaders of the World Economic Forum.
And that's true in Argentina too. Wow. Yeah. Sorry. That's true in Argentina as well.
It's true in Argentina, and it's true in France now. Mm-hmm. I'm with the president, with a young global leader. But what is important for me is those young global leaders have an opportunity to come here. And we, in addition to the young global leaders, we have now the global shapers.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And you know I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And we have will.i.am at Davos, 8 consecutive year. He is a global leader. And he looks at Andrew and says, you're one too. And we see Andrew try to hurry up and say, yep, and keep it moving. Because we know he's part of the controlled media. And we know the NWO takes the greatest minds. When they're young, they're trying to change the world, not knowing the evil hand that's behind them. Remember, all this technology can be used for good or evil. If you studied history, we know what the Egyptians were doing. We know Nikola Tesla was studying the Egyptians, trying to bring us free energy, but J.P. Morgan said no, sir. And we've seen a lot of new technology go on the back burner because the NWO doesn't want it to come out because they can't profit from it. They have to find a way to profit. And we have will.i.am speaking about ChatGPT and how great it is. And yes, guys, it can be wonderful if you understand it, you know how to control it. But we know this AI technology is going to be used against the people. When will.i.am was on 103 Jams, when he did the interview, he explained it perfectly on how dangerous the AI is. He's not going to come on CNBC and say the same thing. And like he stated, Instagram has all of his data. All of these websites are collecting data because data is the new oil. It's the new gold. And then we have the Bankman's FTX back in court. And guys, we're looking for a comeback of FTX exchange. And remember, guys, it's all a movie. Sit back, get your popcorn, and let it play out. And then we have the Miami mayor speaking about Bitcoin. And guys, we know how great this technology would have been if it was allowed to scale. But we know the central banks took over Bitcoin. It's still going to be important because every transaction can be tracked. That's the reason why the NWO wants Bitcoin, wants cryptocurrency, wants blockchain. We know it's going to change the world, but they can't tell the people yet. So therefore, the people invested in it, then they can control the future. If you don't invest in it, you'll be a slave to these big corporations and big banks who were invested in it from the beginning. And remember, the crypto teacher told you, because he knows, when it comes to the New World Order, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
There's a lot of people around here in Davos talking about Chat GPT everywhere. What do you think of it and what that technology will do, the possibility of it, but also the other side of it?
Chat GPT, that's the most liberating, powerful, creative pilot banter engine that humanity's ever seen. It's going to spark a new renaissance.
Can you imagine, though, a day where you are singing a song written by AI?
You got to see these new songs I just wrote last week.
Because you put them through the system?
So I'm a writer. I don't need a co-writer. Sometimes I need a banter partner. Sometimes I need a sounding board. It's a better sounding board. Sometimes I need somebody to push me.
Right.
This is a quicker push. So many times you're like, oh man, hey yo, come here, tell me what you think about this. You got a different option here, and you're like, hurry up, I'm gonna lose this flow. And you just get impatient with the person because they're like stuck in their world, and they're like, oh, maybe they were like in a meeting or have relationship issues. Everybody's in their zone, and you can't expect.
So this could be like a writing partner.
It is, not could be. Don't think of it as like it's going to replace me. No, it's going to help push you. It's an instant banter.
What's the platform you like these days? You're a TikTok guy, you're an Instagram. What do you think of Twitter, by the way, in the new Elon world?
I love Instagram. It's like this, I don't want to love it, but I love it.
Because?
Because they're taking all my data. And data's gold. And there's no other solution out there but I love Instagram. It's an awesome product. But dang it, if only they could tweak their business model.
The move in Bitcoin this year is representative of something more than just simply investors taking a look at what was last year's quote unquote trash and investing and bidding it up in the early part of this year. As you know, the NASDAQ has risen, Bitcoin's been correlated with that. And I have to say, throughout much of the discussion since the demise of FTX, I've heard from so many supporters, including yourself, who come on and suggest that the regulators are the primary ones to blame, that, FTX, has allegedly, at this point, committed a great fraud, but they're the perpetrators of, the perpetrators of this, what sounds like a ridiculous notion at the time, and it still does today, with all due respect, that Bitcoin's going to replace the dollar and that it's a tremendous store of value, et cetera. And that had more to do with the hype machine or this belief that drew so many people into this asset class than anything else.
Well, with all due respect, you don't know the future, nor do I. I think we live in a world where when people lose money, right, or things don't go the way that they expect, everyone wants to blame someone. As you said, we live in a capitalist country where people risk capital. Sometimes it works out for them, sometimes it doesn't. And we have this, and I think a lot of this is, with all due respect, media-driven, where, when something doesn't go right, we have to find someone to blame for it, particularly when it involves just simply investing in something. When something goes well, because maybe in 6 months Bitcoin is at 30,000, maybe it's at 40,000. I mean, are you going to have me back on your show and apologize to me and say that Mr. Mayor, you're brilliant, you were super smart, to be someone who believed in technologies that have some fundamental benefits that the fiat system doesn't provide? I don't know. Are you? I hope you do. We don't know, but you don't know the future. I don't know the future. I think what's interesting about this technology is obviously the blockchain, which is a way to to account for each transaction. The fact that it operates outside of the fiat system, which is something that I think people find interesting. I don't know that anyone said that it's going to replace the dollar, but certainly
people
the dollar
said that. I'm not suggesting that you, Mr. Mayor, I'm not suggesting that you said that, but there are plenty of people. There were plenty of people who suggested that it was going to replace the dollar.
It has a lot of benefits. I think it has a lot of benefits. Look, it creates efficient transactions. I think you would acknowledge that the movement of money is inefficient and hyper, and too expensive. And I think it allows for cross-border payments in ways that, the current financial system has, for whatever reason, been inefficient at. And I think, look, there's been a lot of momentum to digitize the dollar as well, right? And create a token-like a system with the dollar. We've seen issues with not just Bitcoin or with FTX, but we've seen issues even with stable coins, which we thought were going to be stable.
Mayor Suarez. We're going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
Most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids' books. I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York from COVID-33. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.